In this video, we're going to be working on this Ram pickup truck. So this is a Ram 1500 Laramie four-wheel drive, and we are right now getting code C147B, C147B, and that has to do with the front axle disconnect sensor circuit performance. So right now, if we try to put it in four-wheel drive, or even if you manage to get it into four-wheel drive, and then you try to put it back in two-wheel drive, it will show an indication on the dash saying service four-wheel drive system, and you will be left with a bunch of flashing lights. So let me show you guys what it's doing. I'll show you guys kind of the symptoms of the code, and then we can go from there, and we'll try to see if we can figure this out without buying parts or get to the bottom of this. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna turn this thing on. We'll see if it throws the code. So right now we're in two-wheel drive, and let's see if it's gonna be mad. We'll start it. Chances are it's gonna pop up here and get mad at us. Let's turn back on our rear parking sensor so we don't have that indication. So here we go. If you try to go from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive lock, it's gonna flash for a while, and then on the dash it's gonna pop up service four-wheel drive system. So this is what we're gonna be left with, and then the code showing the C147B. So let's shut this thing down right now, and let's go ahead and start with the basics. You're gonna see four-wheel drive lock still flashing. We'll start with the basics and see if any of our connectors, if there's any corrosion or anything like that on the actual four-wheel drive front axle. Okay, so follow me as we go underneath the front of the truck. I'm gonna show you guys this connector here. So this is the connector that goes on your front axle. And this was the report that I saw somebody else mention. So you're gonna see four wires here that go on the connector. Connector is a bit of a bugger to get off. There's this safety latch, and you kind of have to work blind because the safety latch is on the top. So what you're gonna have to do is slide the safety latch back like that, and then you gotta squeeze right at the front of the connector. It's kind of a little bit opposite to what you would think. You would think that you would squeeze towards the back, but you gotta squeeze towards the front right there to release it. And then what happens is, or I don't know if this is exactly the case, but people were saying that these wires are wound too tightly, and that their wires were broken right here. So mine were wound pretty tightly, and they're a little bit swollen and look a little bit distorted here. So what I did was I just untwisted this wire a little bit. You can see here, especially on this black wire, see how it's got this twisted bulge right there, and especially this purple one right here. So apparently one of the wires to do with that is one of these purple wires. So you can see there that it's very twisted out of shape right there, almost at the connector side. So what I'm going to do is plug this back in. The other thing you'll notice too, mine's a little wet here. This is Eco Diesel engine. I purchased it brand new from Mopar, and pretty much right from the onset it sweats a little bit of oil. So it's not actually my front axle. My front axle is dry, but a little bit of oil is dripping from the engine. But other than that, she's good to go. So I am going to try this. We're going to plug it back in, and then I'm going to go up top, and we're going to see if I engage my four-wheel drive after kind of just straightening these wires out, if it's going to be better or worse after just disturbing these wires in their original position. Let's go see. All right, so let's go ahead and start this up. We still have this system unhappy right now, so I'm actually going to clear the faults. So we've got our code reader here. So no faults found at the moment. Let's start this up. See how mad or not mad this thing is. So we're in two-wheel drive right now. Let's try four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive lock. Two-wheel drive. I'm gonna see if I can piss it off. Four-wheel drive lock. Two-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive lock. If that's it, I am gonna be... You gotta be kidding me. Four-wheel drive lock. That's seriously all it is? Alright. Two-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive lock. I don't know, you guys. That seems like way too easy of a fix. We're probably going to have to correct those wires, but it definitely seems like the issue is in those wires right at the connector. It's just after moving them around and relieving that tension on them from being twisted up. Now all of a sudden this thing wants to work flawlessly. I can switch modes no problem all of a sudden. Well, probably the cheapest fix you guys are ever going to have on a four-wheel drive system. Four-wheel drive lock, two-wheel drive, it does not seem to care right now. Heck yeah. See if it's throwing any more faults. No faults. Well, there you go. Alright, so we're back under here, you guys, and I like to leave you guys with a repair as much as possible. So, in my case, I was able to just untwist them and relieve the stress on them, but you can see there, the kink in there. I even slid one of these out. See that hump in this black wire right there? So, even if you guys are not getting this fault, I would honestly get under here, unplug this connector, twist it so that your wires here are not under the amount of stress that they are when these trucks leave the factory. Because if you don't have the problem, it looks like it's a fairly common problem, and by simply spending 5 minutes getting under your truck, unplugging this, untwisting these wires, you can save yourself this headache of having your wires break internally here. So for now, I'm gonna put this back in here. If you're wondering how to get that out, there's a little retaining clip right here. So this retaining clip right there, see in the middle here, this little latch. So this right here that I'm pointing to with my thumb, move this over and then you can lift this latch out. Once you get that out, you're gonna see the little latches on the pins themselves and you can de-pin them. All right, so it's back on. So again, what you're gonna do is when you get under your vehicle, slide this back, you're gonna see all of your wires are very tightly wound right here, causing a ton of tension and to cause the wires to break internally. So I don't have the pins right now, but what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to source out these pins and then you'll be able to buy them for yourselves so you guys can make this repair professionally. I'm going to have them on shopboosted.com. So if you guys have this issue, you want to repair it without going to the junkyard and possibly getting another connector that already has the same issue, I'm going to offer the pin repair kit on shopboosted.com for you guys. All right, well, there you have it, you guys. So could potentially be a free fix. Right now, I don't have the pins in stock, but by straightening out those wires and relieving the stress, it seemed to clear the code and it got rid of the problem. Now my four-wheel drive works. So I'm happy to report that it's nothing too expensive. So I'm gonna offer those pins and even a crimping tool if you guys don't own one on my website, shopboosted.com. We also have a bunch of other cool stuff for us truck owners and Mopar owners. I got some kill switches, a bunch of other stuff. So check out what's on shopboosted.com. Like I said, I'll have the pin kit for you guys to fix that. If straightening the wires for whatever reason doesn't fix it, I got you guys covered with the pin kit. So if you guys found this helpful or informative, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I'll also link down below where you guys can get yourself a code reader where you can get into the four-wheel drive module so you can clear the codes, read the codes. If your code reader doesn't show you all that stuff, I got you covered there as well. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Catch you guys on the next one.